Keta is between the sea and the lagoon.
Oh, wow. I'm enjoying the Volta region. It's an awesome place to be.
Yes. Volta, my boy, Dada Biva Bichobaraji, Kondo Yafoda, my boy, Bichobaraji, Minyaso, Minyafa, Kondo Yafoda, my boy, Bichobaraji.
Hello viewers, we are currently in the Volta region. We are in one of the forts and castles in Ghana that has a lot of historic information. We are now in Fort Prinzenstein. It's in Keta in the Volta region. And to help me do this, I have a specialist here who knows all the information around here, and he's going to take us around today. Hello, sir. How are you doing today?
Fine, perfectly fine.
Awesome. Can you tell us anything about this fort?
Once again, you're welcome to Fort Prinzenstein.
Thank you.
This was among the 40 fort and castles that dot 550 kilometers coastline of Ghana. So Elmina is the oldest in Sub-Saharan Africa. It was put up in the year 1482 by the Portuguese. So the same Portuguese went and put up a fort in Azim for St. Anthony in the year 1515. We also have the Cape Coast Castle, 1653, by the Swedish traders. And then Christianborg Castle, that was the headquarters for the Danish Norwegian in 1661 by the Danish Norwegian. So the same Danish came here and put up this fort from 1700. They completed 1784. So it took them 84 years to complete this fort. And they were buying slaves from Togo, Benin, Nigeria, and other part of Gold Coast, now Ghana. So those slaves were transported by foot into the fort. They were kept for 1 or 2 months and then finally transported over the Atlantic Ocean, and then most of them were sold in the Danish Norwegian island St. Croix and Thomas St. John. Formerly it was called West Indies, by now US Virgin Islands. So each of the dungeons take about 100 to 200 slaves, but initially no ventilation. It was after when the fort was sold to the British, that was the time they created windows that we are seeing today. So inside they defecate, urinate, sleep there. They were dying through insanity condition. Even the water, they will pour it under the door. They have to use their tongue to lick it. Food were thrown to them, they struggle for it, and finally they use hot iron, which bear the name of the company, to burn marks at the various part of their body for easier identification. And the trade by then was so persuasive that even the smallest community, they have to go on a warpath in order to secure slaves, to get arms, to defend themselves when attacked. An unfortunate one were then asked to establish slave market. We have the Atoko slave market. It's just like how Asimanso, Salaga, Sandeman slave market is. And then the slaves were put on display like any marketable commodity, and they were sold to the highest bidders. And they also have the Samuri and Babatus were raiding, kidnapping, and they channeled some of their slaves through Tetekrachi, that's the northern side, into right down here, that's the northern side of Volta, into the fort. So the slaves were transported, and then they were brought down here. They were kept in. They were held in each of the dungeons over here for a month before being transported. So when the slaves arrived over here, they were sorted, weighed, branded, and then they opened their mouth to estimate their age by the state of their teeth. They count the teeth. When it's up to 32, they know they're fully grown adult. So children and younger slaves they were counted as quarter, half to 10 pieces of cargo, depending upon the estimated commercial value. So they can make 3 children the price of 1 adult slave. This is the female section of the fort. And then the shed we are seeing over here, this is the ocean block.
So this was the same one they were using at the time?
Exactly.
Wow.
So when the slaves arrive over here, this is why they do the buying and the selling before separating them into the various dungeons of the fort.
Wow.
So in those days, there was no building surrounding the fort. It was after they abolished slave trade. You know, they abolished slave trade in 1807, but illegal trafficking goes on up to 1833. Then Wilberforce, Granville Sharp, Thomas Clarkson, they petitioned British Parliament, so Emancipation Act was passed. They freed some of them and they were sent to Sierra Leone. That's why they named the capital Freetown, because of the free slaves. And America,
so the Freetown people had some origination from here too?
Exactly.
Wow.
Yes. And then some of the slaves were also sent to Liberia, and they also named the capital after the U.S. president by then, James Monroe. So slaves from here were sent to America, the Virgin Islands, St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John.
Wow.
And some of them were sent to South Carolina, North Carolina, the other places.
This is a deep history. So can you take us around and explain what happened? So what was this for?
So over here, this is where the female slave bath. So
This was their bath?
Yes. So when they are taking their bath, governor stand at the top, point at the one here at the mine, sleep with them. That's why you have a lot of mulattoes in Keta. So the water that they bath to remains here in case they are thirsty. They drink the same water that they were bathing with. So when they conceive, they leave them around, and after delivery, the mother will be taken away, and the child remain with them, and they were groomed, they were interpreting the language for them over here.
So the children, did they also become slaves, or once they are born as misraised, they don't become slaves?
No, they become part of their business. So they interpret the language, they help their fathers. Those are the masters at that time.
Oh, okay. So they learn the local language,
yes,
and then they do interpretation for them.
So the Danish language integrated into our local dialect. We call it grafu for the folk they used to read. They call it grafu. And they call trapi for the staircase. They call kakalika for cockroach, klakum for turkey. And all those languages are borrowed language that integrated into our local dialect. It was a trade by barter. They were using brandy, whiskey, mirror in exchange for slaves. And later on, they start using cowrie shells. So 500 of this cowrie by a female slave, and 300 of this by a male slave. The main reason the female give birth over there, or they give birth over there in the plantation, and they sell to other plantation owners. That's why the female costs more than the male slaves. So 500 of the cowrie for the female slaves, and 300 for the male slaves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the smoking pipe that we are seeing over here was also used to exchange for slaves in those days.
Wow.
Yeah. It's made out of ivory.
Yeah.
And
smoking pipes.
Yes. And the stool was taken from our chiefs. They put up resistance that they will not allow them to put up the fort. So what happened? They bombarded the town, making our people move from here to where they are now, Agbozuma. That's where the people of Agbozuma celebrate Keta Som Matutusa for their migration from here to that end. So they left their ancestors too when they were moving, because they put up resistance that they will not allow them to put out the fort. So the governor of the fort, trying to escape to Grand Popo, he was made idol over there in the back of the Danube market. So he returned to America. So these are the pictures about one is the spine of a blue whale. They will try to capsize the ship of the British, so they kill it, and the bone remain here till today.
Oh,
This is
okay.
a real bone of a blue whale.
Wow, bones of a whale.
Yes, yes. And then when you watch it, this is how the fort look like. Before the sea destroyed part of it. And this is how they transported the slaves from the north down here. They burn marks at the various part of their body for easy identification. They were taken down to be arranged this way in the lower deck of the ship. Is how they arrange them. And they beat them. They use horse and dog to chase and then kidnap slaves. The weak and sick ones, they were tossed overboard. And then they put this around their neck. This one, we call it in our language, kunyowu. When I die, it's better than they put this around my neck. So this one, when they put this around your neck, you cannot escape from them. And they put on the marks so that people cannot easily identify them. But in American plantation, slave owners put on this for the slaves so that they will not eat the sugarcane they were cultivating. And then inside the dungeons also, they mix the slaves so that they will not understand each other.
Okay, so they mix them from, if they coming from different tribes and countries, they mix them up and make sure that they don't understand each language to communicate.
Exactly.
Wow.
To escape from them. So this is what they used to weigh the slaves.
Weighing scale.
Yeah, weighing scale. This is what they used to weigh them to see how strong and fit they are before they buy. So the way they weigh determines their price in those days.
This is the original scale.
This is original scale that they used to weigh the slaves. More than 300 years scale.
Viewers, make sure you come to Fort Prinzenstein. Is that how you pronounce it?
Exactly, Fort Prinzenstein.
You can have a look at all the things that were left.
Exactly. Over here, this is what they used to grind the corn. They don't have corn machine. So they grind the corn and then to corn powder, prepare them the akmala. So they selected some of them to do the cooking. Mm-hmm. If the shipment is ready, all of them were packed into the ship and then taken away. Okay. And this is what we call a third in our language. In those days, when our mothers got married, they have to take this thing to their marital home. When they divorce, they have to move it. So moving from one man to another, you call it hotel dictor, become heteli. So this is what they used to grind the corn that into corn powder.
And this is the stone that they grind on.
Yes. Okay. And that's the cooking pan that you can see over there. This is what they use to make the firewood.
The cooking pan they were using at the time, and it's still here.
Yes.
Wow.
So this is the kitchen. That's
so this was their kitchen, and their store room for their food. And you can see the roof is all damaged now, old wood.
Old wood, yes. So over here, some of the slaves were chained over here. They will pour the water into the gutter, it runs through, and the slaves will be in leaking from the gutter because they fear that when they open to give them food or water, they attack them. And when the slaves were about to be taken away, they starved them for 2 days so they become weak. And they lead them through the tunnel to the gate of no return. From there, they were taken away. So there was a long tunnel over here, which was taken by the sea. And then when you enter here, this one of the rooms, some of the slaves were chained over here. They secure them by two. They will chain one right leg to another left leg. So they use their fingers to scratch both the wall and the floor. They wanted to dig into the building and escape from them.
Wow.
Yeah. So the chain that we are seeing over here was used to chain their leg.
This is the original chain?
Yeah, original chain that was used to chain the slaves in those days.
Wow.
Yeah. So this room also, in those days when they kept the slaves over here, they have powers that when they lean on the wall, they will just say one or two words, vanish. So they put mercury in between the walls, and those that attempted got stuck. That's why when the sea was destroying the fort, you can see women remain inside the walls of the fort. And sometimes when you are in the fort, you are in the you are in the fort, you can hear a screaming. When you come out to see, you will not see anything.
Wow.
So that's the hut used by the slave masters. And this one they used to
Slave masters' hut.
Yeah. This one they used to carry the dead ones.
This is what they used in carrying dead bodies.
Yeah.
This stakes here. These are some of the huts of the slave masters.
And the keys is hanging here. The key that they used to open some of the shackles. No, the top there.
Keys for the shackles. These are some of the keys that they use in locking up the shackles to the slaves. See, you can see that some part of it is in range now because of the strength of the sea. But let's listen to.
So 3/4 of the fort is taken by the sea. You know, it was a big fort, but 3/4 have been taken by the sea. So as you can see over here, the materials used by the slave masters in putting up this fort edifice. So they use oyster shells. The yellow bricks, they brought it from Denmark. They use it as a ballast. Like when they take slaves and they are coming, they bring more stones that they can use to fortify the walls of the fort.
Okay.
And they use a slave labor doing the construction. So let's see one of the dungeons over here. So this is one of the dungeons. Why they kept?
I can even still smell.
Yeah, yes. This is one of the dungeons why they kept the hardened slaves. The slaves were kept over here and then transported to the gate of no return. And they used the yacht boat, the small boat, to convey them to the bigger vessel. And then some of the reasons by some of the African Americans. The thickness of the walls. You can see.
Oh my God, you see the thickness of the wall?
Yes, it's the thickness.
Oh, holy moly.
So when you watch the window, it tells you how thick the walls. That was the thickness of the wall.
The thickness of the wall.
And they put the squeeze or the mud in between the walls to serve as a soundproof. And they serve as a shocker. Like when the slaves are, they throw a cannonball, it will not affect the entire building. That's why this was put in the middle of this thing. The cannons used by the governors at that time to defend the fort against attack. You know, people attack the fort to rescue the slaves that were kept over here.
Okay.
So the cannons surrounded the fort.
Wow.
And in those days too, there was no houses surrounding the fort. It was after they abolished slave trade.
Okay.
These houses came. And all the fort, Prinzenstein, is the only fort in the eastern side of Ghana, serving Togo, Benin, Nigeria. So a lot of slaves passed through this fort. And then this fort from Accra to Benin is called Slave Coast. This is the real Slave Coast. From Accra to Benin is called Gold Coast, and then Ivory Coast. So they have ivory, gold, and slaves. This is the Slave Coast, where a lot of our great-grandfathers, great-grandmothers were shipped to America. So slavery and its lingering consequences must be kept in our mind so that we are guided away from such a devastating incident in our history.
And when you come here, you will see the original shackles that were used. You are going to see the hat that the slave masters were using. You will see the keys they were using. Even the grinding stone, you will be able to see the
smoking pipe.
The smoking pipe. And some of the things that people who died were transported on. Man, this is a place to come. From all over the world and in Ghana and any part in West Africa, everywhere, come see this great historic place. And when you are in Keta, you will enjoy every bit of it. Hey, I'm enjoying the Volta region. It's an awesome place to be.
Yes.
You know, hey, see you here.
Keta is between the sea and the lagoon.
Oh, wow.
We do Achagbeko, Agbaja.
Because I want to Agbaja and
Achagbeko. Yes.
Can you show me some of the dance skills?
Yes, the Agbaja.
This is the Agbaja. Oh my God! This has been our visit to Keta in the Volta region of Ghana, and I want to entreat you, make sure you visit the fort and castle in Keta, and you are going to discover a lot for yourself. It will help you to identify who you truly are. It will help you to discover and to connect very well. Please, put it on your bucket list. There is a lot of history here. Thank you for watching, and we want you to like this channel, and we love you. Just subscribe to this channel.